the Bible and secular history. Giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakakadash. What I did was I wrote in or typed in, did the Assyrians conquer Judah? And this is what came up. In approximately 701 BCE, meaning before the Christian era or before the Common Era, they used to use the acronym BC, which is before the Christ, which is the Messiah. It says Sennacherib, king of Assyria, attacked the fortified cities of the kingdom of Judah in a campaign of subjugation to take them down. This was in 701 BCE. So we know that there was the Assyrians led by Shalmaneser, which is a title, the fifth, took down the northern kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. But their goal was to take down the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel, to take down all of Israel. And they failed when they attempted to take down the kingdom of Judah. But later on it was the Babylonians, as we know through the scriptures, that took down the kingdom of Judah. And Esau, the Edomites, were involved in that takedown that's spoken of in the Apocrypha, also in the book of Obadiah and Jeremiah and other places in the scriptures. Anyway, this is to show you that Israel as a people existed, and we are those people. We are definitely those people. They were dark-skinned people, Assyrians, black people, if you will, you can call them, taking down other dark-skinned people. It says Assyrian siege of Jerusalem. Date 701 BCE. Location. I'm gonna put this up raw. If not, if it doesn't look good, I'll do some post-production on it. Anyway, it says location, Jerusalem or Jerusalem, kingdom of Judah. Result, both, where am I at? Both sides claim victory. Kingdom of Judah subjugated King Hezekiah of Judah remains in power. So when you go into the scriptures, you look up, you can even go to the blue letter, you look up Hezekiah, and it'll give you the history of the Assyrians attempting to take down the kingdom of Judah. But they failed in their goal. It says Assyrian siege of Jerusalem, Wikipedia. It said people also ask, how did Judah manage to survive the Assyrian invasion? Because the Assyrians, led by Shalmaneser V, took down Israel, and like I said, they wanted to take down Judah as well, but failed. It says, how did Judah manage to survive the Assyrian invasions that destroyed Israel? And this is in your secular history. And Syria in the 8th century, 745 to 721 BCE. BCE meaning before the Christian era or before the Common Era, unlike his grandfather Uzziah. However, he chose to join Assyria rather than to fight it. And this is what King Hoshea did. He had agreed upon a pact with the Assyrians. It says, rather than to fight it, he therefore appealed to Assyria to help against the threats by his neighbors. It says, did the Assyrians conquer Israel? Did the Assyrians conquer Israel? According to the scriptures, they did. According to history or secular history, they did. It said the year 732 BC saw the first Assyrian invasion of Israel, meaning the kingdom of Israel. This event is well documented in the Bible. So this is in secular history and in the Bible. If you do extensive studies or research on the Assyrian kingdom, the ancient Assyrian kingdom, during the 8th century BCE, it will go hand in hand with the scriptures. It says, albeit not from the viewpoint of Israel, but of its southern neighbor, the kingdom of Judah. So, let me read that again. The year 732 BC saw the first Assyrian invasion of Israel. This event is well documented in the Bible, albeit not from the viewpoint of Israel or the kingdom of Israel, but of its southern neighbor, the kingdom of Judah. And we know that there was a split. So you got people saying that Israel never exists. But that's all these people talk about. They got a hard on for the whole Israel thing because we are those people. We are those people. You protest too much. Thou protest too much. We got guy from the so-called conscious community. We got people from the Christian community, a la Vocab Malone. You protest too much. Thou protestest too much. From Hamlet. Assyrian Empire builders, Israel, the house of Omri. Did the Assyrians conquer Israel? Yes, according to the Bible, yes. You can go to 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, read that whole chapter, and it even says it in this on this page. It says, did the Assyrians conquered Israel, the northern kingdom? Who was the Assyrian king who conquered Israel? Well, the name, according to secular history, is Shalmaneser V. Shalmaneser V flourished 8th century BC, king of Assyria. There was an actual place called Assyria. There was an actual place called Jerusalem or Jerusalem. There were actual people called the kingdom, the Judites, or the kingdom of Judah, or the Israelites. We are those people. We descended from them. King of Israel, Shalmaneser V, flourished 8th century BC, king of Assyria, reigned 726 to 721 BC. And that goes hand in hand with the scriptures. Who subjugated ancient Israel. And I believe it was the father of Shalmaneser V, Shalmaneser IV, which I said, like, these are titles. Like you have your Caesars, right? I believe it was Shalmaneser V's father, Shalmaneser IV, who attempted to take down Assyria and Judah, but his son, you know, took the man was took the what do you call that? Took the scepter, you know, and he was the one that actually took them down. Anyway, it says, who subjugated ancient Israel and undertook a punitive campaign to quell the rebellion of Israel's king Hoshea, which is found in 2 Kings 17th chapter, because they didn't want to, you know, go into captivity under the Assyrians, but the Assyrians had power over them, and this is just a fulfillment of prophecy. And thence they came to the Americas. So these people that when Columbus encountered the people in the Americas, the New World, they were Israelites. Those were the people of the kingdom, the northern kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. Let's read a little bit more. Lord willing, this is going to be an ongoing series. What can I call this? The Bible in secular history. It says Shalmaneser V, king of Assyria and Babylon, Britannica. I should click on that. Now I'm going to keep reading. I'll probably come back to that. It says, first search for who was the Assyrian king who conquered Israel. That was King Shalmaneser V, who conquered the kingdom of Judah. According to secular history, Babylonian Empire, Judah was conquered in 587. So this is more than 100 years after 100 plus years after the kingdom of the northern kingdom Israel was taken down. It says Judah was conquered in 587 or 586 BC by the which means New Babylonian Empire under Nebuzaradan, captain of Nebuchadnezzar, bodyguard, with the deportation of the elite and the destruction of Jerusalem, and in which Esau was involved. Esau is an actual people. These are your current white people today. And the temple, because the temple had to be rebuilt under the orders of Cyrus. The demise of the kingdom of Judah was complete. Now let's jump back over here. Shalmaneser V, king of Assyria and Babylon, Britannica,